Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Deep Dive Podcast. This is our third one for this week. This one is episode 11. We have Perth Paranormal Investigation Agency with us tonight, all the way from Australia. We are excited to have them here. A couple of things. Uh, Sunday night, this coming Sunday, we have Tiffany with Beyond Logic with Tiffany on the show. And then we'll have another special edition on Tuesday with Paranormal Trinity because we are leaving Wednesday to go do our 2 day, 2 location back to
Mhm.
back on Wednesday, which is our normally scheduled podcast. So we bump them up one night so they can have their time and we're not interfering or trying to do it while we're traveling because that's just not easy to do by any means. Um, so as you guys come in, I am not sure what happened right there, but everybody's cameras went wonky. It might be because it's raining here.
Mm.
But anyway, as you guys come in, say hi in the comments. Make sure you're asking questions. And we are going to get started talking with these ladies. Um, oh, okay. So technical difficulties
Mm.
possible. Hope not, but anyway. So who is the oh Lord have mercy.
Yeah, I'm afraid you're blanking out there. So
Everybody back?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
You guys are all blanking out too. So who's the founder of Perth Paranormal Investigation Agency?
I am, along with another
Suzanne.
member that,
All
yeah.
right. What is the oh Lord have mercy. All right, are we all back?
Yep, yeah, I can hear
Hopefully.
you.
Can you hear me?
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
Okay, sorry. God, gotta love storms, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, Suzanne, tell us about um, Perth Paranormal and what you guys are about.
So we were probably established about 2 years ago. Perth is quite a small community, and really we do a number of things. We run tours mainly at haunted locations, particularly heritage locations like heritage pubs, old hospital grounds, things like that, and we'd like to go out more as a team as well. We're a small team of four at the moment, and yeah, just love doing it. And we take part in the Global Ghost Hunt each year. We were the first Australian team to do that, and we're going to be doing that again this year and joining other teams from around the world. And we're just really excited about everything paranormal, really. But we come from a very story point of view. So we don't have a YouTube channel, nothing like that kind of a thing. We are very much more interested in the stories. So the stories of the dead that we come across. And so a lot of our stuff is written stories. It's not so
Okay.
much, going out and filming entire investigations and things like that. And just introducing people to the safe world of paranormal. And we do obviously protections before we do things and educating people about the paranormal and just proving that there's life after death if they have the privilege of coming on one of our investigations and having interactions with some of the dead that we come into contact with. So that's kind of our mission.
Perfect. That's awesome. So, how many pubs and hospitals do you do?
So Anna does hospitals every time she flies out to work because she's a fly in, fly out nurse. And every hospital that she stays in happens to be quite haunted. But
Mm.
what for the tours, we do one big hospital complex at the moment. We're doing uh, we've got 3 or 4 more locations that we're about to release. They're pubs and court complexes. And at the moment, we're quite focused on one pub that we're doing at the moment, which is called the Sterling Arms. It's an 1852 pub in Guildford, which is a very haunted town. So we've been spending quite a bit of time there, because what we like to do, like I say, we don't do it for videos and things like that, and so it takes time to establish relationships with the dead at these locations, and it's also takes time for us to get their stories, when they're ready to talk about it, if they are ready to talk about it. And the hospital complex we've been doing for about a year and a half, I think, something like that. And that's an abandoned hospital, and we don't go into the hospital, but we just go to the grounds. So we talk about the things that have happened there. We spent a lot of time in the National Archives learning stories and finding out who the patients were. So there's a lot of research that goes in behind it as well. A lot of meetings with owners, and because they're heritage listed locations, it's not as simple as we can just show up. We need permissions. We need to have certain rules that we abide by. We might need to limit the amount of people that we can take because they are heritage locations and things like that.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, the permission. Yeah. Okay. So, who do you guys take turns when it comes to like the ghost hunts, or do you um, all kind of like get together and do it? Like, how do the investigations work? Anybody can answer it. It doesn't have to be
Okay.
Suzanne. So.
Yeah. We we work as a team. Basically, we go out together. Susie does a lot of the investigation into places to go, and she makes the contacts because that's her role. And we go out together, assess a place. We went out yesterday to assess a place for a new event location. And then hopefully we'll go back as a team and check it out first if we're able, and then we'll set up the events if we find find dead people that are willing to interact. Yesterday's place was strange. It was a beautiful old building. It's all been done up. It's heritage listed, but you go in there and you're being watched. We didn't have a lot of interaction, but we did get some interaction. So there's people there. So hopefully we can go in and check it out ourselves, and these people will learn that we're here to learn their stories, not to actually judge them or prove history wrong, sort of thing, if you can understand that.
Okay.
That's what we do.
And when we go out, if we do house investigations, generally we'll have one lead, and that can be, whoever. We've got a house investigation coming up later in the month, and people can take the lead on whatever that might be. But some of our tours, particularly, I might do the history talk on it, but then we split into groups, so everybody takes a group, so they'll lead their own part of the investigation in different areas. So that gives people a chance to do what they do best, because we're all very different, but all more than capable of doing whatever it is that we do. We all have different gifts,
Okay.
And so we kind of start together and then kind of go off into different groups and different areas. And sometimes, like Shelley and I had been to that location. It's an old court complex before, but we weren't sure whether it was haunted. We don't run tours at places where the dead aren't going to speak to you, or it's not. And then Karen's particularly gifted medium, as is nearly everybody on the team. And so we brought them in to have a look and see whether or not they could get more information there, because that's where their gifts lie. Whereas mine is more planning. Mine is more history and learning stories and doing the National Archives and planning and things like that. So we utilize where people's gifts are. Shelley is a tremendously talented artist, and things like that. So she does a lot of the merchandise, or, if we have gifts that we give people and things like that. So she does all the event things and stuff like that. So everybody has a gift wherever they are, It's really cool. That's the best part of being a team.
Oh, cool.
But you are the EVP queen.
And mine's EVPs. I'm very, very, that's my favorite thing to do is EVPs. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a very good ear for EVPs.
Cool.
That is awesome. All right. Miss Anna, talk to us about um, like anything that you come across going out to all these different hospitals. Do you
Oh, so
tell?
there's quite a few. um, One of the ones most recently, the actual defib machine turned on by itself, and I showed the guys how many steps it actually takes to turn on. It's not easy. It's something like 5 steps to get it to the point where it was. That was a bit of a shock. But yeah, here, because it's quite old, it was like I walked into a room, noticed the two tellies were on. One of them doesn't have a remote control at all to turn it on because they're plugged into the wall. It's like a little thing you can press for your nurse and all that as well.
Hmm.
It was none there. It wasn't meant to be working. And they're both on the same channel. I tried going, like, seeing if that one would work on that one, like, just aiming it. No. And then there's one room, the Aboriginal nurse, she won't talk about what happened, but she's like, will refuse to go into that room.
Oh,
And they are quite spiritual people, really in touch with the land, so they're very open. But yeah,
Wow.
that's what I.
there's
That
so
was
many.
gonna.
I'm trying to remember.
That
That
was
would be
gonna
your
be my
first
next.
warning sign, wouldn't it? When you go
Yeah,
somewhere and then they're just like, nope, I'm not going in there.
Mhm.
It's
yeah.
probably the first warning not to go in.
Yeah.
Right, right, for sure. Yeah, that was
Because
gonna be my next.
I work country, so a lot of these hospitals are really old.
I
There's
see.
one I work in a place called Newman at New. Um, but the old hospital was apparently so haunted, all the local Aboriginal people would actually refuse to go in to be treated. They would wait outside for people to come outside and see them. And when it got demolished, they did a huge smoking ceremony. So over here, the Aboriginal people used eucalyptus and other things so they did a huge smoking ceremony to clear the land. But yeah,
Oh, okay.
It's not the first
Yeah, I
time
was
we've
just
come
gonna ask.
across. Oh, yep, sorry, no, go on.
No, you're good. I was just gonna
What I
ask
would,
if she actually said to any of her coworkers, like, "This place is haunted," or like ask them about their experiences or whatever, to see if they share with you anything.
yeah. So there is here. There's one room the bell likes to go. One shift it went 6 times in my shift, and I just end up going, "You need to stop. I'm trying to work." And we're talking about it, and like 3 other people have the same exact experience. So
Okay.
we're just like, it's that in common. So it's not just, so you can kind of verify it if other people have experienced the same thing.
Hmm.
But yeah, it got to the point because I had like 8 people, I think, on the ward, and I was like, nah, I've had enough. I can't keep coming in here to turn the bell off. Like, that's why I told them off.
Inter- Interesting. Go ahead, Suzanne.
what I was going to say is there's a great story at the hospital complex that we do where it used to be a filming studio, and they were filming an Indigenous movie up there, and the leads kept getting followed home by the dead there, and so the actual workers just completely stopped, saying we're not going to film this until an elder came in to do a proper smoking ceremony. And so an
Oh,
elder came in and did a big smoking ceremony at the actual location, and it did stop a little bit of them being followed home, but not so much because they can still follow you home from there. But it did get rid of, I think, a lot of things up there. But we come across that quite a bit with the smoking ceremonies, obviously, because it's a very old land.
okay.
And, there's so much culture to that. And like Anna said, there's such a spirituality here in Australia, that there's, I think, more of a acceptance and understanding of the spiritual world, more so than, say, more in the Western, I'd say. That's my experience. I don't know if the others would agree because I'm English, so the other 3 are Australian. So they would know more about that. But yeah, there's quite a few occasions where we've seen that, where they've had to bring in the something in order to move the spirits on.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
We've also we've also been, well, I haven't, but Susie's been followed home by an entity from a museum actually in Perth, only because we forgot to do our protections. We didn't set our intention for the day. We were just looking for locations without thinking. And something went home with Susie. She was so lucky.
Wow.
That was
Mm.
nasty, though. That was not a very nice. That was not a very nice experience. It's probably
But we
one of the
learned.
She's
worst
like,
I've ever had yet.
Good.
she was so lucky.
Yeah.
Mm.
That was
Mm.
not it. So it goes to show, though, how you've got to be so and that's part of a big thing of what we do is you can't come on one of our group tours unless you go through the openings and the closings and the explanation as to why you do that, because a lot of people, I don't think, understand that if you are going to do this, there's a huge danger in it, because not
Right.
everything is nice. And in
Okay.
that instance, we made a mistake, a big mistake, and we learned that it was a mistake very, very quickly because of the physical effect that it had. But by then it was too late. And then I had big problems at home that took quite a lot to deal with. And recently I was in the same area at a different location. I got an EVP saying, "Take care, we've met before." And it was the same voice as from this other location,
Okay.
which made me a little bit nervous. That's one place I'll be honest, I'd never step foot. I'm never going back to that location. I know my limits, and that was my limit. But you do have to be very, very careful. And that's why I guess we are more on stories, and we're more on teaching people as best as we can that it's not something to play with. It's something that if you want to understand it and you want to understand their stories, because you are dealing mainly with people, right? People in life don't like performing. People in life deserve respect. People in death deserve the same. And if you're going to go playing with things, you don't know what else is there. You know, their intent might not be nice, or it might not be a human thing. You know, you don't know necessarily what you're doing. And so that's a very big part of tours, particularly. And a lot of people don't understand that until they come. You know, Shelley and these three ladies do a lot of the talking on that. And we get a lot of questions about protections, and it's not 100% guaranteed, but it's necessary, I think. Otherwise, you're going to have problems.
Mhm.
It's not a matter of if, it's when, in my strong opinion on that.
Right. Absolutely. Tim, do you have any questions?
A lot of them. So, as I said, I've never been outside the continental United States to even just visit somewhere, or even much less go ghost hunting, which I need to do because I really need to get branched out. So, on your teaching, you talk about teaching people how to interact with the dead and the paranormal, so forth. What do you do in that teaching? What is it you teach or try to teach people to get them to learn? What are your aspects of, I don't know, how do you do it? So
Does somebody else want to do that? Because otherwise I talk too much.
Go on, Shelley, your
Shelley,
turn.
we haven't heard from
Well-
Shelley. Let Shelley. Okay.
I'm very quiet, not really. So we basically, it's all about teaching people to use respect. We're not into provoking. We don't provoke people. If they want to interact with us, that's just fine. We understand that the spirit world is not there for our entertainment. And, you know, we just want to interact. We want to learn. And we're always sort of saying to people, we also don't take any nonsense from the spirits either. So once they start to go down a road that we're not happy with, perhaps they're going into the satanistic type words, which sometimes the spirit world will do to provoke us. We just put an end to it. Say, nope, not playing that game.
Okay.
We only want to interact with people who want to talk to us and tell us their story. So
Okay.
that's what we're mainly about. We're mainly about respect. So you have to have respect for the spirit world, and you have to have respect for the heritage as well. So, yeah, in every country we've got the younger generation don't have a lot of respect for anybody or
True.
anything. And it's just reteaching that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's interesting to learn because a lot of times people don't teach. They go to a location, and we run into situations with other paranormal groups that they provoking is the only thing they know to do, or so forth, because they want to get they're looking for an interaction with
Yeah.
the dead and so forth. So that's a good thing, and we do it protect well. Brenda and Brenda and Misty and Tanya and Kathy do a protection before and after. I'm an ordained minister, so I do my own protection. I have my own method of doing protection because of my teachings and what I've been taught. I worked with a demonologist for many years, and he taught me very well how to protect myself. So that's an interesting thing because a lot of people don't do that. They just go there and come back out. So
What are
tell
the
me, I'm sorry, go ahead. Go on.
Sorry, just quickly, what are the best examples of Shelley just talking about shutting them down? So we shut the negative down, right? Straight
Okay.
away. I have a wonderful EVP. We were at Swanview Station, which is a very old train station. It's attached to a very, very old tunnel that's here in Western Australia. And they started coming up with demon, Satan. And you can hear Shelley on the video say, no, we're not dealing with that. You got to stop that, else we're going to stop the communication. And I've got an EVP of a woman saying, don't bother, they're not going to respond. And then everything
Okay.
was positive after that. Because
Wow.
like Shelley said, sometimes they'll come in and they'll just be that to get that response from us. But shutting the negative down, if you don't want to interact, I don't know why anybody would want to interact with the negative, but if you did want to do that, then be prepared for the consequences of it. But we
Good.
shut it down. But that's one of my
Cool.
favorite examples, that sometimes those words don't mean anything. It's just somebody messing with us as a living person would. But that EVP will remain one of my favorites. Because
Okay.
it's just like, oh, okay, telling the dead people, the lady who is dead was telling the rest of them, oh, don't bother with this lot, they're just not going to bite. And that's how we want to do it when we go out. That's one of my favorite EVPs.
Oh, okay. That's really interesting. So one of my big questions is, how did the four of you live 100 miles from each other? How did you get together? How did you become this group to who you are? How did you find each other?
Can I answer this? Sorry, I can talk a lot. I get told off at sites by the dead for talking too much. At 2 locations I've been told off. But we basically, I've been doing this since I was 17. I'm 46 now. And when I moved to Australia, and for a long time I'd been wanting to get out and about. I'm not a big believer in investigating the paranormal on your own. I think that really you should have somebody with you when you're doing it, just for safety purposes. And so we just put a call out, and it's like the universe answered, in the sense of, we were so lucky. Really, the first group that we went out, Anna and Shelley and Cara were all part of that group. And then over time, we just kind of like brought it down. Because again, I think one of the most important thing is, although we come from different perspectives spiritually, so same as what you're saying as far as protections and things like that, is that we all are on the same page in respect to how we do things. If you're just going out with anybody, you learn pretty quickly that can put you at risk. You've got to have the same perspective, like with the respect, with the non-provocation, with the shutting down the negative, with the what you're trying to do. And we were just, some might say things happen for a reason. And we were just lucky to meet. And to be honest, it's been a really good group with the four of us, the core members. And 2 years now, I think, almost just over 2 years.
Yeah.
Yep. Still
Yeah.
go strong. Wouldn't choose any 3 other team members. There you go.
I feel the
that's
same.
really cool.
I feel the same about our team.
Great. Yeah. Yeah.
Kristen, hi. Thanks so much for joining. They definitely prefer to watch investigations that are strictly there to measure, observe, and be objective. Do you guys have any ghost hunting shows over there? And if so, do you like to watch them?
We basically have what's across the world. A lot of American shows. Yeah, and we
Mhm.
watch. I've just
Yeah.
gone into Voices Beyond the Grave at the moment, which is on YouTube, and that's fascinating. But yeah, we follow some of the teams like Paranormal Quest. We've got Amy's Crypt is an Australian group.
She's really
Um,
good, actually, Amy Script. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So she travels across the world. Has done. She's been to America, done lots of shows out from over there. Yeah,
Okay.
certainly have a look. And I know her auntie. Does that count? Nepotism.
I
Oh,
often
you're
jo-
famous.
I often joke that we would make the most boring YouTube channel because we really don't react that much.
No.
I have a great video of a home investigation that we did where I was drinking tea and you hear a man speaking from behind me and I just turn around and I'm like, oh, there's a man. And then I just go back to drinking my tea like it's the most normal thing in the world. So I don't know how exciting we would be as a YouTube channel, to be honest. Because
I don't know. The whole deadpan thing might work. Like,
Might
deadpan,
be.
flat.
oh, yep, there's a ghost.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's have a
yeah.
conversation. Yeah, it could work.
Very
Possibly.
It
possible.
could, it could. And if you guys actually threw in like the history about everything, because a lot of people are super interested in the history about locations.
Correct.
So that in itself,
Right.
I don't know. I would probably watch a paranormal show if the reaction wasn't there, just to be like, why, like why are you not reacting as
Correct.
much? You
No,
know what I
yeah, I
mean?
think it would be.
Because
It would be.
some,
I mean, I watch so many of them where they just like they provoke and provoke and provoke, and then they get a reaction and they run screaming from the house, and
Yeah.
it's like,
Correct.
well, what
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't.
happened?
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
think my biggest
Or they
reaction was
overreact.
I got pinched on the bum, but it
Yep.
felt so much like there was an actual person doing it. I turned around and jumped a little bit and was looking for who it was. It was so
That's at sunset,
you.
right?
There was
There's a
no
guy
Yeah,
that
sunset.
pinches the women's bottoms when I'm trying to do the talk, but particularly likes Anna.
They all like Anna. Wherever we go, anywhere she's the one who gets touched, and usually
Yeah.
on the bum.
Wow.
Boundaries, appropriate.
Clearly, it just sticks
Yeah,
out too much
yeah.
or something.
I think
That's good.
I also think we're all pretty laid back as a team because I've had experiences and I've talked about them on this thing called A View from a Bridge, and I was talking about an incident where I got thrown against a wall by an entity, and then just didn't do anything else. And the guy says, "Well, what happened?" I said, "Nothing. Just turned over, went back to sleep." Then after it happened, he says, "How can you do that?" Well, what am I going to do? Run screaming? I've got nowhere
Yeah.
to go. So
True. Very true.
it went. It went after that. Didn't see it again. So yeah, it's
Okay.
interesting. I love
Fear
it.
will feed it as
I-
well. Fear will feed it,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because just as we provoke,
I would definitely be awake for a
they
long
provoke
time.
too. Yeah.
I think they have bigger limits to me. I don't know if I would be particularly okay with that one, but luckily I've
Gotcha.
never had that happen yet. So
So do you think? So do you think a lot of the dead that you
So-
talk to are mainly human spirits, as far as that goes, or do you think it's something a little more demonic, so to
Like,
speak?
mostly human.
Okay.
I mean, there's I think we've got a few different ideas on the negative stuff. I personally think negative stuff is about human spirits. I know that things can be conjured. We've had incidences with that when we've done private investigations. But I think a lot of the negative at the places that we're going to are just really bad humans, bad in life and not really
Okay.
changed in the afterlife, not moved on.
Okay.
Yeah.
there was that
Well, yeah.
interesting house one we did where the dogs went mad. I'll just, because obviously for privacy, but the girls will know what I'm talking about, with the dogs at that location, that we weren't sure whether or not whatever had come into the house halfway through the investigation that said that the house just went crazy, was human or not, or whether that was attached to the land, because we kept getting the term land spirit. And what they'd done is they'd cut down we found out later, they'd cut down all of the gum trees the neighbours had that had gone through the property and had possibly irritated whatever was attached to the land. Now, that probably wasn't human. But again, you know, yeah, I think that
was an elemental. That's
an
what
elemental.
I picked up.
Elemental.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't think it's as common, but that doesn't mean they certainly can't act like that. Certainly on our house investigations, we've come across some very negative things. Again, like Karen says, sometimes we have different perspectives on that. The only time like we came across one thing that was a mimic, kept mimicking our voices, and I ended up getting, it's the only time, one of the few times I've actually been physically harmed. And that was like, we didn't really know what that was. We were split on what we thought that was. The thing from the museum that we were talking about, I don't know what that was. I think Karen thinks that was human, right?
Yeah.
To me, it certainly didn't feel that way, you know. I don't know. Yeah, I think there's less of a pull here to go down that direction, but we do have a team in Perth that specifically deals with the more negative. They deal with houses, they deal with more negative, and very often if it's so negative that it isn't just going to be easy to move on, we might just pass it on to that team to deal with. And that can take a long time because obviously the humans involved in it often have such a big part of what's going on spiritually within the house, whether they've been doing something they shouldn't and they brought something in, whether they're fueling it, you know, whether they have influence within themselves from whatever the negative thing in it. We do come across a lot of negative males that hate women, that growl at us. Again, you won't see much of a reaction when that happens. So you can imagine, you know, Karen and I particularly, we were in one house where we always get growled at before sometimes we even walk in the door, but we're walking around and there's this big growl, and I'm not talking about little, this thing, or this is in the place where there was the mimicking and the female then male and God knows what was going on in that house. But that's still a house that hasn't been cleared, and because that's ritual based, we think that was ritual based. But in that house, when we first walked in and we went into the bedroom, we actually got a photo of that from another team, the actual photo of what we saw, which is a big black mist thing that would just black out the whole corridor. But he would growl like really loudly. And there was where me and Karen were just walking in, and very often it was like, was that, did you hear that? Was that, you'll hear us say that, did you hear that? And then we just carry on. There's like no reaction particularly. It's like, okay, it growled and that's it, which I know isn't normal. I've realized that over time, hearing dead people talking to you and not being affected by that is not normal. Normal in our world, perhaps, but not normal. And I think over time,
but paranormal is our normal.
Yeah, exactly. But I think over time, when you also have the right approach, we don't necessarily have that many negative experiences. We do occasionally. Recently on one of our tours at the Stirling Arms, which is where we've been spending quite a lot of time recently, one of our guests who was a skeptic got pushed up against a wall and she came down shaking. She was just so nervous. But things like that are quite rare, and we don't usually come across that. And that's to do with the story that we think has been uncovered at that location that's been hidden, that very much involves the dead there and why some of the dead are there. And you know, that's again, you know, when you take people, like we also do workshops. We did a really good morning workshop just on the paranormal and everything like that, which was quite popular. That it's about educating, like, what do you do? Like, people don't realize, and you see that when they go on tours, they love the idea of it, but when something happens, not so much. And in that instance, now we know that there's this very negative male that's there. We know now we have to be a little bit more careful. Shelley and I recently, and actually Karen and I were there yesterday, went to a big old pub that we're about to release tours at, and there's a lady there that absolutely dislikes us, doesn't like paranormal investigations. We think we know who she is, but you hear her as we're going down the stairs say, "I'm going to start pushing." And Shelley instantly knew to hold on to the banister. So that's another place where, we have to be aware that there's something that's not quite nice that can cause harm, But if you go in, not to say that we don't come across it, but we try not to engage in it. The house investigations are different because nearly always there's something that's causing issues with some of these people. And that has a lot to do with what they're doing. Very different, right, to going on a location, to going to a home.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very much. Yeah. I've done some private investigations and done some house cleansings, so I know what that's like. And it's usually people in the house that are the problem. That they start it somehow, or it ramps up because of what they're doing. So I've been there a couple times. So.
I've seen the change at quite a few places where you see the influence of the dead at the house. So these people are lovely and wonderful, and then you start talking about getting rid, and it's usually for us nearly always a negative, women-hating man, nearly always.
We tend to attract them.
Yeah. But you see the living change from being really nice to suddenly being really angry or really aggressive, or will cut off contact completely. And that's the influence of what's going on in the house. And then we have people that would be like, I'd love to have my house haunted. Or they come on tours and they want to bring the dead home with them.
I never met anybody like that. So.
Oh my God, come to Australia. There's a few of them. I don't know about anywhere else that like the idea of it, which to me is just crazily bizarre. I mean, my house is my sanctuary. Dead are not allowed to come in and out of my house. They're not allowed to mess with my family. They're not allowed to do that no matter what I'm doing. But some people just love the idea of it. Crazy.
Some people live with it, so that happens. So yeah, interesting. Well, that's interesting to learn as far as that goes. Yeah, cool. Oh, Misty's on, so one of our team members, Misty, just now joined us. So
Yep.
Hi, Misty.
Hello.
Yep.
Hi, Misty.
Yep. She was.
Hello.
yeah, so cool.
So,
it's interesting that you do
Karen,
both,
when did
because
you?
usually that don't happen. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
All right. Oh my God, this thing. Are you messing with it, Tim?
No.
We both
Could
have
be.
access to the comments.
Could
Anyway,
be.
Karen, how long have you been in the investigation world?
Proper investigation, joined with Susie about 2 years ago, became part of the team. But I've always had a fascination and a draw to the other side. I've been aware of things that you can't explain. I was not encouraged to explore this side of life. But as family members have got older and you talk more about it, they're more interested. I think there's a maternal line set, passing down the abilities, because I can sense things, see things, feel things, and Anna's the same. I think my mum is, well, she is, but she won't admit it. You can take her out sometimes and she picks all these things up, but she won't admit it. She hasn't got abilities. And I was told by a medium that I did some development work with that he thinks the connection comes through my maternal grandmother. So I think there's a line through there. So I've always been aware of things, predicted things. It's just a knowing. That's all I can say. It's like having a knowing and being able to sense it. Yeah. But investigation, yeah, joined Susie and Shelley and Anna 2 years ago. Yeah. And love it.
Oh,
So, if she admits to it, then it's real. But if she doesn't admit to it, then it's not real.
I think so, but she's definitely more switched on now. My mum definitely took her out to there's a haunted Christmas shop in a wheat belt town near here, and she went in there and she was being affected. She was getting like the goosebumps, picking up things she could sense. And so she's aware of it. I think perhaps as you get older in life, maybe you just accept things a bit easier, from that generation, because you brought up in the Christian faith, people don't always encourage this sort of stuff. So my dad's a total non-believer. When he dies, that's it. There's no ghosts, there's nothing. But I think my mum's more open up to it now. So we shall see. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you. And Anna, tell us your
Shirley,
story.
how about you? Yeah, no,
What story? Which one?
Why that you're developing?
I guess like initially, because me and Mum would go on like this tour of this old it's like a town hall, Mum, the Midland one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Midland Town Hall. Yeah.
so I could pick up things, and normally it started with I could pick up how people passed. There was one instance where it literally felt like I was having a stroke, so I could feel my face droop, side of my body go numb, and I literally turned to Mum. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm having a stroke," but there was nothing. So I could pick that up, and as it's become more like gone out more, I actually have started to like get visions that I can see what the spirits look like in my head. Like I won't actually see them, and then they started giving me almost like visions. It was almost like a movie or something playing through. And that's actually how we found out about the one at Sterling Arms, because one of the spirits involved, showed it to me, and it was actually quite disturbing. And there was one at the hospital as well. Yeah, murder.
It was
and then at the hospital as well, one we found out, which again quite disturbing. Mum actually had to pull me away because they were taking over, and I was actually coming out with what he was saying, and I couldn't stop, and I was crying. So Mum kind of had to pull me away, and poor Shelley was there as well, seeing it. But yes, it's like slowly developed more and more. So I'm extra careful with my protections, and when we go home after something for a few days, I'll burn dragon's blood, sage, Florida water, like that kind of stuff. Just because we went to a haunted location. It's called the Pines. It's a pines plantation, and it's got quite a lot of dark history. And that night we went home, and I had the most vivid dream. It was terrifying. I actually woke up in the middle of the night to it, lit sage next to me before I could go back to sleep.
It's probably one of the most sinister places, I think, here that we've ever been. It's sinister to the,
Yeah, it has a long history of people being murdered, buried, perhaps without being discovered. It has quite a dark history, that particular plantation. And I suppose the funny thing about the plantation is that it is in the middle of civilization. Like, it's not out whoop whoop. It's right there in the city. People pass it every single day.
It's actually beautiful when you walk through it, because it's all pine trees. It's just beautiful, but it's so disturbing.
You walk past this gate and there's an immediate shift, wasn't there? We all picked it up. There's an immediate shift walking through this gate. But yeah, people get married there. People get their pictures taken. So it's, both sides. Definitely after dark, it's a lot worse. But that's also atmospheric. Big pine trees make it
Massive
even more
pine
through
trees.
here. Yeah, huge. Make it a bit more. Yeah.
all right. Lynn popped in. She says, "Hey everyone, thanks for
Lynn.
joining.
Hi, Lynn.
Thank you. Oh,
Hello from Australia."
Yes.
right. So you were talking about how everybody over there is like they're all spiritualists. I think that's what you said at the beginning. Do you feel that actually helps with the paranormal world more? Or do you feel that there's the split of like what you guys are doing is wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We do get comments about, we shouldn't be doing this. We're doing the devil's work by going in to do this type of investigation. Not a lot of it, because most people that follow our page are actually interested in it. So it's not a huge thing, but it does occur. I think you'll confirm that, won't you, Susie, from some of the messages we get?
Yeah. You've
Well,
got
you're
to be
always
able
gonna get them.
to draw a line, and because also we get a lot of people that maybe aren't very well, aren't mentally very well, that their focus is paranormal and really it's mental health or things like that as well. So we get a few where you have to be very discerning, because we don't go in and say this is paranormal. Generally and generally you can get a sense of it anyway, but for our house investigations, generally we do a preliminary first. So we might just go in and do an hour or 2 hours, analyze that, and then make a decision whether this is something that we go back for to do a full investigation. Some people, we have to say no. It could be that they're not in a mental place in order to deal with it, because you're not going to deal with the haunting if you're not dealing with the issues that are going on in the house. You can go in as many times as you like. You can get rid of it, but it's going to come back. You have those that are very firmly against it, which, like Karen says, we do get, not a lot, but we do get those kinds of messages. Yeah, we even have dead people like that, actually. The Swanview Station, there's an Irish lady. She's very Catholic. She's a Victorian lady. She's, been dead obviously for quite a period of time, I'd say. And she follows us around and keeps telling us to go find God, stop talking to the dead. We've got her on EVP over and over, and she follows, even though she's talking to us and she's dead. But she's very firmly against the communication. So it's not just the living. Certain dead people will also have very strong opinions on their belief systems, and you have to understand that. And of course, then you've got the whole, the Indigenous side of it as well. And very often you might need, an elder to come in and do whatever it is that they do. And they don't usually talk to us. They'll just say, hey, we're here. This is what tribe we're from, language group. And then that's it. They won't really have those conversations with us. But the living, you've got to be prepared for that, I think, when you have an online presence. And even on tours, you get those people that are usually quietly skeptical. But again, we have to warn people going around certain sites, even if you don't believe in what's here, we can tell you that they're there and listening, right? And if you're going around and you're making jokes and you're being kind of, there's no such thing as dead people, or that's provocation. You're going to have a dead person that's going to be like, do you want me to show you how real a dead person is? And then we're going to start having problems, right? Which may be what happened to that lady. I don't know what happened with her and why that happened, that she was physically affected. But again, sometimes we have to shut that down. When we start seeing things like that, we will very often have a conversation. That's it. We're not doing this. You're not allowed to affect people. You're not allowed to touch people. Or sometimes, like Anna says, you have to leave the area. So you're not affected by what's going on. It's not worth it.
I see.
Know your limits.
Actually, at the hospital we go to run tours, I've had a male spirit come up and say some words, like derogatory words towards women. And I was like, no, I'm not having that. And it immediately switched. He was lovely, wanting us to play music. So it's setting that boundary, going, I will not take this. Yeah.
Okay. Very smart.
But one thing I will say with our team, that we won't take minors on our tours because of the risks, and some people don't like that. But we just feel that anybody under 18, it's a no-no for most of our spots. I'm not saying we can't take people into less haunted areas just to get the experience, but no, it's a big no-no on our team. Nobody under 18. Occasionally 16 will be accepted. Just again, because of the negativity that can happen, and kids are so open,
Sure.
they don't understand the need to actually set their intentions and their protections and how important it is. And
Yeah, but we've even had older people than over 18 that don't understand that they need to set those protections. They allow things to happen. So we always say to people, if something is happening that you're uncomfortable with, tell us and we'll shut it down.
Sure.
And they'll just let it go because they think, oh, this is fun. And of course, then it goes too far. By the time it goes too far, then we've got a problem. Then it's harder for us to shut it down. So sometimes it's not even children. It can actually happen with older people. So we definitely don't mess with kids because they have that tendency to think that they are invincible and that nothing can touch them.
Sure.
And they can be influenced by what you see on TV,
Oh, yeah.
when you see these groups going out provoking and.
Sure.
But even ourselves, what I'd say is, if I'm really sick, I won't go. Say if I had a bereavement in the family, I'd probably take a break because that also provides a weakness within myself that could be taken advantage of by something that isn't as nice as some of the dead that we come across.
Sure.
I think that was one of Karen. That was one of your things, wasn't it? That you don't go out when you're.
Yeah.
When
no alcohol, no drugs, and don't be sick. And if your energy levels are very low, don't go out because it's just offering an opening for anything that would like to come home with you.
Gotcha.
That shadow that just passed behind me was a car, by the way. I don't know if you saw that. I've got a window in front of me and there's a car that just went and I just saw a shadow shoot behind me.
What about the earlier one off to your right?
I was going to say, I've seen shadows to your right this whole podcast.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
And I was hoping that it was a car, maybe.
Do you know, funnily, I was at a house investigation where the dogs went crazy and my parents were away in England at the time. And they actually did a video call while I was at this haunted house. And I'm sitting there like I'd gone to a separate room. And my parents, the very next day, had said to me, they don't believe in this sort of thing particularly. My mom, I think, does have a bit of because she hears her name called and stuff, but she's exactly like your mother. But they said to me the next day, oh my God, we saw a black male, what looked like a male black shadow figure pass behind you, but we didn't tell you because we didn't want you to be scared. I'm like, what do you think I'm doing here? Like, you could have mentioned it at the time, so nothing would surprise me. Hopefully not.
We didn't want you to be scared. I love that.
I thought it was pretty funny, to be honest. But strangely enough, they always message now, you're not at a house, are you, before they call. I don't think that they want to see that again, because again, the idea is fun, but I don't think they like the reality of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
A few comments. Lynn says she's never been on a paranormal investigation, but she likes popping into podcasts to see how other psychics and sensitives handle these things. And then she says when she goes on ghost tours, people do the same thing when we were talking about, like you're doing the devil's work and that kind of stuff. Matt Ryan says, hello.
Hi, Matt.
Hello, Matthew.
Hi, Matt.
I say, must be somebody you know. And Chrissy, I don't know if you guys have talked to her, but my team and Tim were going to be on their podcast, but thanks for popping in. So yeah, I do have a question though, because I think Shelley, you talked about earlier about using a cauldron.
That was Karen.
No, that's Karen.
Oh, it was Karen. Oh, well, I don't know who was talking at that point. So do you, and nobody hate on these ladies for anything that they do, please. Is that something that you guys, whoever does it, practice?
I don't know.
I've just got an interest in it. I have a meditation. What it's called is it's like an altar, but it's
Uh-huh.
not like a practicing altar. It's for my meditations and things, but it's got things that I've seen and mean things to me. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Perfect. That's awesome.
yeah,
That's awesome. It interests me as well. So I'm like,
yeah.
Mhm.
I'm just
I
I
curious.
actually brought mum that cauldron. It's more like burning your incense and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Clearing,
'cause-
clearing the
yeah,
space.
yeah, because we
Yeah,
both use a lot of incense,
yeah,
and actually
yeah.
my dad does as well. So it just
Perfect.
sets the nice,
yeah.
like, I don't know, tone in the house. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Dave Alcorns, he's been hitting us up every podcast. Thanks for joining again. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah. I mean, like I said, I have a fascination with it as well. And I just like to see what other people do. But having that space where you can do meditation and it's like cleansed and it's cleared of everything. I mean, that's a lot, especially if you have abilities where you're trying to develop those abilities more or anything like that. Like you have to have the clear, non negative space, so to speak, just so you can have that clear energy going on.
Yeah.
Um, so, what else do you ladies have that you can share from over there that we haven't touched on? This has been a busy hour.
Mhm.
It's been a busy hour. We've talked about a lot.
Yeah. I, I think Shelley should share some of her abilities as well. She's a great aura reader and she can pick up things. When I've been doing an opening before, I've literally not been able to get my words out. I can't, and she says, "Oh, there's something on you. I can see it." And then she's got rid of it and I can speak again. So I think she should talk.
Nice.
Tell a
Yeah,
bit
let's
about
hear
Important
it.
yourself.
about having people with you when you're on
Mm.
investigations, right? Is to have that safety and
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
accountability is the word I was looking for as well.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah,
I
true.
don't have any of that.
You do.
Uh, not
Susie's
like
always
you
saying
three.
she's
Not
not
like you.
sensitive, but she actually is. So,
Mm.
yeah, she just doesn't believe that she's sensitive.
I rely on
She's
them to
even,
tell me what's going on.
she's even written a book. So, she's an author as well.
Oh,
She
cool.
wrote Chasing Shadows. Yep. Which is all about her past history with the paranormal and the different things that she's experienced, mainly in England, isn't it? It's sort of
Yeah,
based
yeah.
mainly in England, yeah. But it's a really good book.
Cool.
Yeah, so she does have capability. She just doesn't accept
But
them.
not like that. Like sometimes if I'm there, I can pick things up, but not like the sex and who it is. And I don't have visions. I don't have. Saying that, at the last place, I did know that there was a gentleman standing there, and I could tell who he was without seeing him. So I think maybe as you go out more and more, you become more sensitive to it. But by no means like
Mhm.
these three, you know. But again, people have stronger gifts than others, and that's where you
Sure.
use it, right? Because it's very
Yeah.
easy for somebody that's not as sensitive, that's the word I'll use, as sensitive, to be a bit complacent sometimes because I can't
Yeah.
see necessarily what's going on. I can't necessarily feel what's going on all the time. And so I don't get those red flags to say, be wary of this. Yorktown Hall was a good example of the Global Ghost Hunt. I was on stage, they were upstairs, they felt that shift, that something was wrong, and they were able to say, okay, we're going to stop. I wouldn't have had any clue about that. So
No, but it was quite a noticeable shift. Karen felt it first, and then I think Anna, and then I felt it, and it was like
Okay.
a wave coming across us, going,
yeah.
"We don't want to play no more. Let's stop."
Mm.
Yeah. Whereas they were still playing on stage, but yeah, it was
Sorry, that
quite
wasn't really
noticeable.
answering your question. But yeah, that's just other things in Australia.
Other things in
So,
Australia.
We're a
yeah,
very
so
multicultural society as well. I think we're one of the most multicultural societies in the world. So you come across, we've had different languages. We had I think Russian, German. You get a lot of accents come through, and then you also have the Aboriginal people who, when you communicate with them, they won't tell you their name, but that's part of their beliefs. When
Their culture.
someone's
Okay.
passed
Yeah.
away, you do not say their name. In fact, you can't even name children the same name.
Oh, okay.
So that's why you won't get their name ever if you're interacting with them.
Oh, okay.
And that's why we would never ask their name as well. So it's
Mm.
understanding the culture that you're working within. So if we know by the accent, you know, our next question isn't going to be, tell us your name and where you're from and what you're doing. And, you know, again, it's respect, right? Respecting those cultures and boundaries once we understand.
Yeah,
Cool.
definitely.
So that's actually pretty interesting to know, as far as that going in the culture over there. Because, like, over here, somebody dies, that child's getting that name, you know, and it just keeps going on and on and on.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that's
So,
pretty
you know, history, talking about that, history is such an important part of investigating because, I mean, obviously without going into too much detail, but very often, because our colonial history here only really goes back to about 1830s, 1832. We've had home locations where we have people from that time from both cultures in the same place, and there's obviously that historical you know, two sides of it, two sides of this historical conflict with the dead within the same place, and having an
Okay.
understanding of that time, and, you know, not judging people on the time that they were born and they lived in, and being very careful how you approach the historical side of it, because obviously, you know, with colonialism here, it's a contentious topic even today, even more so for the dead that lived at that time. And we often go to places, and I don't know if the others would agree with me here, where you have to deal with both sides of that, or you need to be aware that there's both sides of that in the same location, and how you approach that.
Yeah, it's true.
That makes sense.
I think we
Sure.
saw that house with the dogs, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, but that had a lot. That had a lot of layers.
Mm.
But
That
it's
had a lot
something
of
in
layers.
Australia that I think is so modern. We come across it a lot in areas where you do have to be very aware that you may have those that dealt with colonialism on the Indigenous side, and the awful things that happened there, but also the settlers that came at that time, and they both are still very strongly in their positions, and you're going in and you're trying to make sense of it, and you've got to be very careful with how you approach that, and having an understanding of the history of the area means that you're more understanding towards the dynamics, because if you're not, you're
Gotcha.
going to end up causing conflict and problems within the area that you're going into.
Okay.
Especially as an English person, you know, coming over, I didn't know anything really. I'm learning very quickly. So that's an interesting part of investigating here, I think, in Australia.
Okay. That makes sense.
Lynn says it's weird how some spirits don't want to identify who they are.
The most painful thing of my life is not telling me who you are. There are certain spirits that we've been dealing with for 1.5 years, and they still will not tell us who they are. Sterling Arms is a big one. We've got a mystery we're trying to uncover as to who an individual is there. It drives me crazy. But
And
I don't know the
cries
reasoning
at the
behind
hospital.
it. Sorry?
There's a lady who cries at the hospital and she won't tell us.
No. We hear her crying for 2 years. She's very, very distressed, and we still do not know her name. She will not tell us her name. And we don't always want to say like the teenage boy that's here, you know. Sometimes it's nice when you're trying to build relationships, which is what we try to do, is build relationships with these people, is to know who they are. And even when we are able to identify them, think of their time. So very often I might say Mr. something instead of by their first name, because their time, that would have been familiar and very probably disrespectful if I don't know who you are. And so that's a me thing, having that layer to it. There's a sergeant down at the old Soldiers Hospital at Sunset, which was part of a soldiers hospital, and he likes to be called sir, right? He won't talk to you, but again, you ask him directly what his name is, and he won't give you what his name is necessarily. And it just, no matter how many times I ask, that's a personal peeve of mine as well, is that I don't know what that's about. Maybe it just doesn't matter as much when you're dead. I'm looking at Karen.
Maybe we'll find out when we actually cross over, and perhaps we could all come back and, if one of us
There you
crosses
go.
over first, come back and tell the other ones why.
There you go.
As long as you give your name, that'll be fine. I'll be happy with that.
Give your name and the reason why you don't give your name.
That's
That must be universal then, so that's interesting.
Well, it says, it makes my heart sick. They're not bad people. They just don't want to talk about who they are.
Correct.
I think there's a lot of reasons, and it depends on, joking aside, it depends on why they're there. So the lady at the hospital that Anna mentioned, there's a lot emotionally going on with her. It's heartbreaking because we actually hear her crying. It's just awful. And so she's not willing to face whatever that story is. So she doesn't want you to know her story. She doesn't want to. The gentleman, well, I won't call him a gentleman, but the man, one of the men at the Sterling Arms, the not very nice one, he doesn't want us to know who he is because he doesn't want us to be able to identify what he did and tell his story of what he did to that woman. Our Indigenous spirits here, obviously it's a cultural thing, which is why they don't give their name, which I think is why the stories are important, not the name, but the stories. Of course, for us, it's good to have names and stuff because then we can identify who they are and we can find the photographs. And we equally have as many that do that as well, that we're able to actually figure out who they are. But there's so many reasons why they wouldn't, because that's not the important part of the story,
Gotcha.
I mean, sometimes it's because it's residual and not actually intelligent. So, yeah. If it's residual, they don't understand what's going on. So why would they give you the name? Yeah.
Yep.
So many layers.
Tim, do you have any other questions?
I don't at this time. We've been going for over an hour here, which this has been a very interesting conversation because learning how people investigate in other countries is you guys, something happens behind you, and you just keep drinking your tea. That, to me, that's awesome.
I'll have to post that video on our page because it's hilarious.
That is awesome as it can be because it's okay. Yeah, it goes over there. No big deal. Because here we get a lot of reaction with people that something moves or jumps and they scream and half of them want to run out of the room and take off.
I'll just tell you a quick story. When I was at hospital, I was walking down one of the cell blocks and I heard a woman saying to my ear, "Hello." But I was so busy trying to do something else and I was like, "Hello," and then just dashed forward to doing whatever I was doing. And then I realized I should have stayed and just been like, "Hello, who are you?" But no, just didn't even.
Yeah. Because whenever I hear a noise, I go to it because that's where they are.
Well, that's what normal investigators would do.
They're over there, or trying to find or talk to them. So I don't have any more questions this time. I think what you guys do is fascinating. So I guess I do. You say you tell the story. So how do you tell your story? Do you write a lot of stuff down when you're investigating? So you're able to write a story later, or is it just something you remember and you can then communicate it out there?
We still use recording equipment. Yeah. And we write.
And I write. Yeah, I do a lot of writing.
Okay.
So I do a lot of writing. And when these guys, sometimes when they do houses or they do something, I might ask for their written impressions and what's gone on so that we can put it all together and get a picture of what's happening at a location. Yeah.
Okay. We need to get into the habit of that because we don't write in the dark, unfortunately. So I don't know. Ours is more experience.
I mean, we still have recording equipment. We still have all the cameras. We still have all the paranormal bits and pieces.
So we don't write at the time necessarily. Yeah. But we go back.
We don't have a YouTube channel because, as Susie said, it would probably be very boring because we just don't react. We don't run from the house screaming. We address things. So,
Okay.
Yeah, but we still have it, but it's all
There's probably
recorded.
plenty of footage of us
I
eating
got you.
lollies, actually. That's one of our
Yes,
math
there's probably
tapes.
plenty of footage and offering lollies to the spirits,
Oh, okay.
which sometimes they do actually take.
Pizza party. There's one
Okay.
house
Party.
where they
Okay.
kept asking us to bring pizza. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we should try that.
Yeah,
Maybe.
definitely have some candy at your next investigation.
Attracts the
should do
children,
that.
particularly. Yeah.
Opens
Okay.
all sorts of doors.
Oh, okay. You got any questions for us?
Well, what's it like? I mean, over there with your investigations, it's going to be completely different than Australia. So, what do you guys investigate? What do you like doing?
We normally do locations. I've done a couple of residentials with him, but for the most part, um, we do um, locations, different
Hmm.
locations. We travel 6, 7 hours one way to go
Wow.
investigate at a location
Yeah.
to see what we can find. We're
Yeah.
the we're the people though. If something like if we hear something, we're like, "Wait, did you hear that?" Or we
Right.
just heard this over here. Like we don't run, but we're like,
Right.
we just heard a guy talk. We just saw,
Yeah.
something over here, and then we go into like, debunking to try to see what all that stuff is. But
Correct.
our locations
Okay.
over here, really, they go from anywhere. We have a lot of jails, a lot of asylums.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, churches are starting to pop up on our
Yeah.
radar.
Yeah.
Hey
Okay.
guys, I'm going to have to disappear. The grandchildren
Okay.
have turned up, so I'll say
All right.
goodbye. And it's lovely to meet you. Thank you
Thanks
Yeah.
so
Nice to meet you.
much.
Yeah.
again. Have a
Exactly.
good day.
Have a good day.
Bye, Mum.
Bye. Bye.
See you,
Um,
Karen.
See ya.
but anyway, churches have started popping up on the radar.
Hmm.
We have a lot of outdoor locations. Um, I don't, like there's a lot of wooded forests, national forests and stuff around.
Correct.
So it's
Yeah.
just kind of like there's just kind of like a lot, um, a little bit of everything. Like
Correct.
if there's a location that you actually want to go do, like I'm sure there's a location here for it.
Mm.
That's what we should do. We
Mm.
should swap locations.
There you
So
go.
Yeah, right.
if we have something that we wanted to always go to, but of course we can't because we're over
Yeah.
here, we should send it to you and you should do the same. Although bigger
Yeah,
area.
that'd be a good idea.
We could do
That would
that.
be
It'd
really
take you
fun.
7 hours just to get to the next town.
That would we could do
Yeah.
Well,
that.
it
So
takes
you
us
could
7 hours to
say,
get to the
okay, well,
location.
and
So
Yeah.
we'll film it just for you, and you can put it up.
Okay. That'll work.
That'd
But
be fun.
yeah, I think that'd be
Yeah.
really fun.
So we also
Because
do
I know
like,
there's
yeah.
hundreds of things I'd love to see over there, but of course I'm not going to be able to. Yeah.
So we do a lot of like hotels. We did one last year, November. That was a hotel that, and in our west, when our country was expanding to the west, we had like Jesse James and Bat
Yeah.
Masterson and Bell Star, and all these people stayed in this hotel. So we get that kind of a history into a building
Wow.
like that. So we get a lot of interaction. Try to get a lot of interaction with the past and the people that were there. Those are interesting. We got prisons that are haunted. We got, oh my gosh, I've done residential over the years. Like I said, I've learned how to do that. So I've done several residential areas, and you're right, getting rid of what's there is really, really hard sometimes. Far as that goes, but we have a lot of interaction. We're getting more and more in the United States of haunted places that weren't before that are just starting to come out like the woodwork now. They're
Wow.
I mean, churches. Who would have thought a church would be haunted? Been to what, two of them, three of them now, and investigated them. So we're starting to get more interaction with. The more paranormal that's out there, the more people are coming back saying, "Hey, I got this haunted place. Would you want to come check it out?" So getting
Mm.
interaction back with us. Now, a lot of our history gets lost because people years ago in the 1800s kept everything in the courthouse and it burns down. Why? I have no idea.
Ah,
All that history was kept there. So we've been to places where we have no history at all. We don't even have a picture of a place because all the history's been lost. So then we try to bring back the history as we're there. We're trying to get the dead to talk with us to recreate the history that has been lost.
Wow.
And so
Exactly. That's
we
yeah,
do we
yeah.
do some of that. We're very respectful everywhere we go. I mean, we do that. I worked with the paranormal team in the past. I know how to provoke and all that, but we really don't because it doesn't get you very far. Except you might run out the door. I'm not sure, but
I guess it's great for YouTube to provoke and then have something provoke you. Yeah, but
correct.
it,
So
in real life,
yeah.
it's actually not that great.
No,
Yeah.
and
It
so
depends on your reasoning for doing it, though, your intentions, right?
correct. So my intention is so when I first started doing this, I was curious. I
Mm.
wanted to see, I wanted to know because I was skeptical of that how this stuff, it ain't real. Over the 14 years, I've learned it's there and I've gotten better at it. And as Suzanne said, the more you do it, the more apt you get to understand what's there, and the more you know something's there, something's standing there, whatever. So that gets to be more prevalent too. So, but we have a lot of fun when we go out, and that's number one. Is just we have a lot of fun at what we're doing, and then we try to communicate back to the owners. Hey, this is what we found. Here's what we think. So you take it from there, and so, in our world, paranormal world, a lot of people go to the same places. So I don't know what the group did before. I don't know what the group's doing after. So we don't know
Oh,
that.
yeah.
We have no idea what they're doing in this location.
Correct.
So you guys don't sound like you run into that as much as we do. But here, if you come here, yeah, we do collab sometimes. We work with other paranormal groups to try to we're starting to do that more. And I'm glad you gave us some insight on doing public investigation because Brenda and I have talked about trying to get that started and how
Do
we should
it.
approach the people that come and investigate with us and or we show around. We're kind of looking at like doing cemeteries in an open area now, so that type of thing.
Mm.
But we need to know where to set boundaries and what to do in case we get into that situation. So if you can send us some information, please do that.
I will
We'll get
absolutely do that.
we'll get
Send it
Susie
to
to
us.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, because we need to learn that type of stuff because we're looking to move forward and get bigger and progress out and try to get the paranormal out there and do like you're
How
doing. Hey,
exciting.
this is what's here. We want to understand it, why it exists, and the naysayers, they're always going to be there. I don't care what you do. And we went to a place
Ah,
in Aurora, Missouri,
yeah.
that down the street's a church, and the church comes down about twice a week and tells this lady to quit having paranormals in her building. So yeah, that happens all the time. So yeah,
So
I'm
when
gonna have to
you
hop off too because I've got to go fishing, catch a barra. So
You're
okay.
gonna go fishing.
yeah, gonna go fishing down at Kitty
You're gonna go
Gorge.
catch
So
dinner.
yeah, gonna go catch a barra. It was
so
really nice to meet
country
you
Australia,
guys.
yeah.
Well,
All
it was
right. See
nice.
you,
It was
Anna.
nice
Thanks,
meeting all of
Anna.
you. Awesome.
Bye.
Good luck.
So one of my questions would be, we're quite isolated in Perth, obviously, because we're one of the most isolated cities in the world, if not the most isolated thing. I think Perth is. What when you've got like asylums and churches and prisons and those kinds of places where a lot of negativity is and things like that, how do you A, deal with the negative, and B, stop from bringing, I don't know how to word it, sort of the things from one location to another location? So for us, like we know that if you have issues or even like residual stuff at one location, you don't shut it down properly, and then you go to another location, it can affect your EVPs. Suddenly you start getting EVPs that are connected to the older place, or
Mhm.
you start getting things like that. So how do you kind of approach, because those are places that would be very emotionally heavy, I'd imagine.
Correct. And so Brenda and her team, they do before and after to do that, but to shut it down, we run into a lot of situations in our part of it for us to shut it down um, ourselves, but we run into where the owners, they don't want that. To stop it from following us, we protect ourselves to keep it from traveling with us from place to
Yeah.
place. That we do, yes. That is absolutely something we do because we don't want it coming home with us either. That's what we do, but we do it through a spiritual activity. I'm totally Christian based, so I do mine through spiritual with
Yeah.
God and so forth.
With prayers. Yeah.
That's what I do. So because
Similar to our group. Yeah.
yeah, I've
We're
had
quite
stuff follow
similar.
me home. Yeah, I've had stuff follow me home, and it's not always a good thing, but usually it don't last but a couple of days because I get rid of it because I've been
Mhm.
taught how to get rid of it. So, but the location it stays there because that's
Yeah.
yeah exactly. Go ahead, Brenda.
When we do our uh, closing protection thing or the end of our protection thing, in it, it states that they have to stay within that
Yes.
location, that they are not allowed to attach to us,
Correct.
our equipment, anything like that.
Oh, so that's
So,
almost identical to ours. Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
we, push it to go back. Um, Sometimes I wonder though, because when you say that, because we tend to go to locations and we can go to a location that we've never been to and we'll get the thing of I know who you are. And we're like, how do you know who we are? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't maybe they kind of do skirt tail kind of. I don't
My
know.
experience on that is, and this is a game that you can play on the way to your next investigation, is that they know that you're coming before you get there.
Correct.
Right.
I don't know
They do.
how that
Yep.
works. I don't. So we started playing a game in the car on the way that we would. I had a skeptical guest with me that was coming, and I said to him on the way there, they know that we're coming. Even just our intent being out there, I assume is how they know. And he said, okay, I won't believe it unless they say my name. And this was in the car on the way up, and we weren't even there 10, 15 minutes at his name, which was Alistair, full name, right? Not the name that you would come up. It's not a John. It's not a Thomas. It's not a common name. It was Alistair. And the name Alistair came up at the location,
Mm.
even though we had said that in the car half an hour away. That wasn't a crossover from locations. That was just the fact that what we
Right.
find is once we have that intention, I guess,
Correct.
and we think about it, we're going to go to this location on Saturday night. You talk about it. However information travels, they
Sure.
already know that you're coming. You can't surprise
Exactly.
them.
Right.
They
Exactly.
know.
No.
Exactly. Yeah, we
That'd be an
and so
interesting thing to figure out how, you know?
yeah, and some of our team members actually have dreams prior to going, and
Mhm.
then they'll actually tell us, "Hey, we had this dream last night." Then we get there, and sure enough, something happens from their dream. So
Oh,
I
we've had that on our team as
correct,
well.
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah.
how it happens is if we take our look at it, we live in a 3D world. We can see peripheral vision, all that. They're living on a plane that they can just move wherever they want to go. So how do they know we're coming? They're that intelligent. I mean, we're dealing with
Mm.
something that's that much more smarter and way more intelligent than we are to be able to do that. So I'll give you an example. We was out in Fairfield in Lancaster, Ohio. I was out with some friends. We were up in the Fairfield Infirmary. If you ever get to, you guys don't go there, but maybe we should do a location there. That place haunted. So at home, my wife's sitting at home. She hears a door slam in our house from 600 miles away. She hears footsteps come up the stairs and hears like a zipper unzip on a bag. She puts on her necklace, everything, and tells it to get out. She hears the footsteps and the door slam again. I'm 620 miles away doing an investigation. How did it know to come into my house 600 miles away? How did it know that?
Oh, I'm getting chills from that.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
so think about the intelligence level and the plane that they live on
Mm.
because it's that's how I think they can do it. I've been doing it for so long that I think that is absolutely they know you're
Yeah.
coming.
I think the same. Like they're on a plane that's completely different from us.
Mhm.
And
And I
Correct,
think
until we
that's
get there, we're not really going to understand it. But I don't think it
correct,
matters where they are. So there can be somebody who is in America who's never even heard of Australia who can
correct,
come through over here and say, "Hey, I have a story.
exactly.
Are you going to listen?" They don't
Mhm,
they don't mind where it is. It's just it's the
correct,
receptive person on the other end that they go, "Hang on, someone
Correct.
can hear me, I'm going to talk. Yeah.
Correct.
I
Exactly.
think that's why intent is so important from the beginning, because they know when you go in just to use them as entertainment. You know,
Yeah, they
if
do.
your
They don't
intent
like
in your
that.
heart is like, I just want likes on this video, which is each to their own, not my sort of thing, but each to their own. They know that. And I don't
Yeah.
think necessarily you're always going to have the meaningful sort of connections that you would have if your intention is to go in there and really learn how it works and what the stories are and why they're there, and you know, for the benefit of understanding, as opposed to self-ego is what I'd word it as.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've been guilty
Yeah.
of that too. When
I think
yeah,
everyone to a point, but we try not to, right?
we try not to, but we have done it on a tour. We've been like, oh, you know, I hope we get some interaction tonight because, you know, we've got a tour happening.
yeah.
Instead of going with the intention of, I hope I talk to Sergeant tonight because I'd really like to know his story. So we've done it the wrong way too. Yeah.
Correct. You learn over time. You really do.
You learn over time. So it's what
Yeah.
we say when we're doing tours and things like that, is the spirit world is not there for our entertainment. Okay. They're not there to entertain us. And if something happens, wonderful, enjoy it. If something doesn't happen, then they just don't want to play tonight. They don't want to
Correct.
talk. They don't want to tell us their story. They're not interested.
Nope.
You know, there's a show on TV that they wanted to watch and they're not going to come and play with us.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I think if you as long as you make that clear, that you don't have any control over whether they want to interact with you or not.
Correct. And
Yeah.
and like you say, 100%. No matter how much you try to shut it down, it can still come home at you sometimes. That happens. It just really does because they're living on that plane. They don't care what you got to say. Hey, I'm going with you because I can. So it's interesting world as far as that goes. We've been to a couple of places where everybody after the group for 2 weeks has been affected by something that came home or followed them in their dreams or was coming to them. So
it's always dreams and headaches and the really negative that often, or not necessarily negative. It couldn't be. It might not be like, even when they growl, it might not be I want to harm you. It might be just get out of my space, you know.
Correct.
But you know, that effect that the dead can have on your physical body is quite astounding when it continues past an investigation, which I think happens to anybody that interferes with the, you know,
Exactly.
interacts is the word I'm looking for. Interacts with the spirit world. You know, you're gonna get headaches and sometimes have the physical effect of feeling sick, like Sterling. Very often you'll get a headache for a couple of days. Last time I was there, and feeling nauseous, and that's when you've got to know your limits. That's when you know you've got to get out of that space for a little while and maybe ground or whatever your practice is. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Sterling was very draining. Yeah.
Yeah. We've been to a couple of them, so exactly. Yeah.
All right. Kristen said, thank you all. Love that we're building each other up, lifting the community and making it positive.
Oh, thank you.
Those are feel good moments.
Yeah.
Gotta have some good in there.
Yeah. Lynn also had said she went to her first cemetery back in January. It was very interesting. And that spirits start communicating days before she goes somewhere when she's doing it. And then Henry, this guy, he posts all over everything. The historical Gilchrist County Jail. So that's one of our paranormal locations. And he's
that sounds interesting.
He's really trying hard to get it out there. Thanks, Henry.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been an amazing experience. I am so glad that we finally we're able to get this accomplished, to get a time situated. Thank you guys so much. I do always offer to have guests come back on the show, you know, like 6 months or whatever, check back in with you, see what's going on, what's happened since we talked to you. So I will let you guys have a break, but then I will follow up with Karen
Awesome.
and
Awesome. Yeah.
see what we can do about getting you guys scheduled on back in the
Yeah,
future.
exactly.
It's been awesome.
Thank you so much for having us. It's such a
Yeah.
Oh,
pleasure
yeah.
to meet you guys. And
Yeah.
maybe one day if we ever get over to the US,
Yeah.
we
We'll come and
can
see
do
you.
we'll
Is-
definitely do a collaboration. Would love to.
Yep. Well, make sure you
And
do
same
that.
if you get to Australia, you know.
Make sure you do that because our sign off is if you want to go ghost hunting, get in the truck.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get in the truck, but it might take us a little while to get there. Yeah.
He,
It's that
he,
water that gets us every single time,
he
The
has
snorkel
running.
not
He
big
has
enough.
running boards. He has running boards. It's
Yeah,
no
you can
big
get
deal.
in. No
All
problem.
right.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Thank you guys again. Sunday night is Beyond Logic with Tiffany at 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern, and Tuesday, Paranormal Trinity, 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern. So make sure you guys are tuning in for that. Thanks for joining in today, guys.
Yeah.
Again,
Have a great day.
we'll
Thank
see you
you.
guys Sunday.